Hey everybody, this is Betsy Veldman here for this week's Papertrey Ink Make It Monday. Today we're going to be doing some faux chalkboard art. I did a blog post on this a while back and I had some requests to turn it into a Make It Monday, so here you go. I'm going to show you how to use your stamps and a few other basic supplies to create your own version of today's trendy chalkboard art. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is you need to come up with a design. What I do is I just start with some scrap paper and play around with different compositions, different stamps. Here are just a few ideas that I played around with for today's project, and yeah, just play around with it, do some stamping, don't worry about ink colors yet at that point, and come up with the design that you want for your card. So today I'm going to be using Ocean Tides cardstock. The samples that I've been putting on my blog with this technique, I've been using True Black, but today I'm going to be using Ocean Tides. It's kind of a perfect chalkboard green, so that's going to be kind of fun to play around with today. Switch it up a little bit. Alright, so I'm going to start with this large wreath image. This is from Stitch Sentiments, and I'm going to be stamping that right onto my Ocean Tides cardstock with some Versamark ink. I'll ink up the other half of my wreath. And I'll go ahead and line that up and stamp the other half of that. Alright, and I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle my white embossing powder just so that this doesn't dry out as I do the rest of the stamping here inside the wreath. And I didn't show this on camera, but before I started, after I trimmed my cardstock, I did go over it with an embossing buddy too, which is just a little pouch that kind of takes away the static electricity from your cardstock, and it keeps the embossing powder, little particles of the embossing powder, from sticking where you don't want them. You can make your own too, just with a little pouch of fabric and fill it with some baking powder. Alright, so now I'm going to take this sentiment. This is from With All My Heart, and I'm going to stamp this inside of that wreath, kind of at an angle, and again using Versamark ink. Now I have not hit my embossing powder with the heat gun. I'm going to do all of my stamping first and then do all of the heating at once. Right now I'm adding a couple of little leaf images. This is again also from Stitched Sentiments. I'm going to add them on either side of my sentiment here that I just stamped. And then I have a little heart. This is from With All My Heart. I'm going to stamp that just right below there. So now I'm just kind of building a design, and here I have a flourish. Flourishes are really, big in the chalk art look. This one is from Holiday Photo Finishers, and I'm just going to add a couple of those at the top and again at the bottom. When you're looking for stamps to use, for this technique, anything that's kind of has a fun typography type of look, flourishes, that sort of thing. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle the rest of this with my embossing powder. And then before I heat it, I like to take a small brush, this is just a little paintbrush, and brush away any stray particles. The little brush bristles, just kind of pick those up and clean it up for me a little bit. Alright, so now I can go ahead and grab my heat gun And I will heat this and be right back. Alright, so the heating is all finished. So now we can go on to adding a few details that will really kind of bring this chalkboard look to life. I'm going to grab my Ocean Tides ink pad now and an ink blending tool. This is just a foam pad on a handle basically, and I'm going to go around the edges just to add some depth of color. Just blending in a kind of a circular motion. Just keep on going until you're happy with the depth of color and the evenness of the ink. Don't worry about getting it onto the embossing because that will wipe right off. I can just grab my paper towel and just wipe over the embossed portions of the design in case any ink got on there. We can just wipe that right off. Alright, then I'm going to go in with some fresh snow ink. I'm taking a paper towel and I'm just going to add some chalk dust. Just lightly dabbing my paper towel right onto my pad and focusing kind of around the embossed images there, just to make it look like, yeah, like we have some chalk dust. Alright, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a white pencil and a ruler and I'm going to add some details. The different depths of color in with the white embossing and then now with this white pencil really kind of makes it look very realistic. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw some lines, kind of running that line parallel to my sentiment there at an angle. And I'm going to put another one above, making sure with my clear ruler here I can see that I'm making it parallel to the first one. And you can see how as I'm drawing it, my line, just skipping any parts that would overlap where the stamping is. And then I'm going to actually take my pencil and just color in this portion here in between the lines to create kind of a border or a background behind my sentiment. If you look around on Pinterest or on the web, you can get a lot of ideas. Just do a little search for chalkboard art or chalk art, and you'll have lots of ideas pop up to use for inspiration. Just kind of pull out some of the elements that you see in those images and use them for inspiration. Just going to finish coloring this in. Alright, and then I'm going to take my ruler again and my pencil and I'm going to draw some borders around the outside edge. This is really simple. It's not fussy. You know, it's meant to look like chalk art. So feel free to get a little messy. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's very forgiving. Just go back and forth a couple times, make those lines as dark and as vibrant as you want them to be. And you'll notice here again, as I draw my line here, anytime I come to a stamped portion, I'm going to stop, leave a little bit of room, and then restart my line. Finish this up by drawing one more line across the bottom. See how our little details with the inking and the white pencil really brought it to life and made it look very realistic. Now one more last step is I'm going to go back in with the same stamps that I used This time I'm going to stamp them again with fresh snow ink, and I'm going to just offset it a little bit from the embossed stamping. That just gives it a little bit of a shadow effect, which is, you know, very common with this sort of chalkboard look. The reason I'm doing this last is because that white ink takes a little while to dry, and so I did all of my other inking beforehand so that I wouldn't smudge it. Now it can just dry and on its own, and it'll be good to go. Alright, so that finishes off the stamping portion of it. Now we'll add a few finishing touches. I have a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch piece of wood grain pattern paper. I'm going to adhere that to a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card base. Now I never think that these cards need a lot of embellishing, but it's kind of fun to have a little something. So I have a few little trinkets we're going to add to the top corner. I have a piece of paper doily here that I'm going to adhere up in the top left corner. A heart cut from Ocean Tides felt, and a couple little banner tails which I cut using the Countdown Details dies, and just a twine bow and a decorative brad. And there you have it. That's all there is to it. It really is a pretty simple technique for the impact that you get. And really all it is some embossing on cardstock and a little bit of creative thinking with the inking and the addition of the white pencil. So I hope you'll give it a try this week, and I hope you have some fun with it, and I can't wait to see what you do with it. Thanks for joining me. This has been Betsy Veldman for Papertrey Ink.